Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Blu Ray Hunter. I'm the Blu Ray Hunter, Jonathan Moody, and I've got an awesome guest, man. Tony from Basement Blues. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing good. Thank you, Jonathan, for asking me to be a part of this.
Yeah, so this is my top 20 Thursday episode. We haven't done this in I think a month or two. I took a break because I've been just trying to do a bunch of other segments and try to wheeze everything in, but I want to do this once a month, and I figured Tony, I mean, I asked, I thought Tony would be busy or something, and nope, he was able to do it. So thank you.
Yeah, I always got time for other YouTube people. Um,
Right? I think
yeah,
this is a great community
it really is.
because it really like everybody wants to help each other out, and support one another doing this because this is like this is what we love to do.
Right,
I if I weren't having a YouTube thing, I'd still be doing this. It's just I
right.
wouldn't be talking about it.
Exactly.
So
Yes, that's the way it was for me too. I was collecting and watching movies long before I started my channel.
yeah, so I mean, when you were a kid, you watched movies, right? And
Oh yeah,
stuff. And Um, at some point I do want to get you on physical media lovers and or physical media chat, and it's a little thing where, I just had Huck on.
right.
So I'm really excited for that episode to drop, but I think it drops before this one does. So but yeah, that I mean just learning about people's collecting habits and how they got started, and then other stuff about them personally, is just amazing. So I would love to have you on that at some point.
Sure.
I just
I'll be
don't want to
happy
do
to.
back to back, like
Right.
I want to have it so it's all spaced out. But I think you and Huck will switch places at some point. You'll do
Mm,
top 20 and you'll do the physical media chat at some point.
great.
But I'm trying to get as many of them on there. I know a lot of people have been busy, so it's summer, it's end of summer. So I think fall will be a better time
Yeah.
when people have a little bit more time to relax and do this. So all right, so what we're gonna do is and I explained it to you, but I'll explain to the audience. So generally what happens is the guest will go first and show the first, like, I guess, up to 11, 20 to 11, and then I'll go and show my first 20 to 11. And this is for top 20 90 favorite 90s movies that we own. So, so start it off, man.
Okay, so I'm going to show you 10 titles, correct?
Yes, 10 titles. The
And
first, like, whatever. I mean, I have them in order from 20 to 11, but you can have them whatever,
okay.
order.
And you want me to stop and talk about each one?
If you want to, yeah. If there's
Yeah.
something specific you want to say about them.
So I am going to do a little bit different this time just because with the 90s, during the 90s, I had kids. They were young. They were under 10 years old at that time. So a lot of times we didn't get to see very many movies as
Oh, you
far
didn't?
going out. So we still had a VCR, VHS tapes. So all of my top 20 are going to be VHS tapes with some
Sure.
great movies. There's, a really nice group of movies. So first up, we have Backdraft. We love
Backdraft. I have that
Backdraft.
on
Yeah,
Blu-ray actually.
right, right. And all of these I have on Blu-ray also, but I just thought it'd be kind of cool just to show the VHS
Yeah,
tape.
that's neat.
And Ron Howard did this film. We really loved it. There hadn't been very many films that were focused on firefighters at that time. And so we just really loved it. We loved the story. The acting was great. It was intense. And so that would be my number 20. Then, of course, with kids, we loved watching Hook with Robin Williams.
Hook. Classic.
Another great one. Dustin Hoffman made a great Captain Hook. Robin Williams, of course. Peter Pan.
Rufio, man. Rufio stole that
Rufio.
movie.
Exactly. Yes. And then um the the Bodyguard with Whitney Houston and Kevin Costner.
I don't actually own that yet. I don't
Oh,
think I have it on DVD. And
you've
it's
seen this.
I loved it,
Yeah.
but I just haven't bought it. I don't know.
Yeah, and I don't know. I guess we just really love this one, especially with Whitney Houston. I think this was really the first of her few filmography as far as what she's done. But to me, this was more it's almost like, with her being a singer, it was almost I don't know what you would call it, not
Uh,
autobiographical, but she
Biographical, maybe.
she was in her element at that time.
Uh,
Okay, the next one would be Misery. We love
Nice.
a good thriller, and Misery was a great one. Kathy Bates and her performance with this crazy character of hers kind of makes you wonder how he even survived what he went through in this. There's one particular scene that is so painful to watch,
Yeah.
um, but a great story
I
there.
can't believe Rob Reiner directed that. Like of
Right.
all directors,
You would have
like
never thought that.
I mean, he did, but he did create Castle Rock, so he was a big Stephen King fan. Stand
Right.
by Me was great, but like
Right.
you go from Princess Bride, Stand by Me to Misery. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just, so different.
Yeah. And then I love a good Western, and I really like Clint Eastwood. And so we have Unforgiven,
Unforgiven, nice.
really good one. Of course, I think the standout performance for me in this, other than Clint Eastwood, would be Morgan Freeman's character. A
Mm-hmm.
really good character there, and Gene Hackman, of course, was great as the villain.
It's been a
So
while since I've seen that one.
I love
I'm not a really big
Unforgiven.
Western fan, to be honest, but
I
I think
didn't
I'm
used to
gonna
be.
dedicate a whole month to Westerns at some point and just
Yeah.
watch some because I haven't really done that yet.
Yes, and that would be a great thing to do, maybe even for a recommendation, because I do hear from a lot of people that either don't know much about westerns, or any kind of recommendation might help other people find some really good
So
titles.
Unforgiven is gonna be on my list at some point,
Yes,
I'm
definitely
sure.
that would be a top one. Then we have John Travolta, Nicolas Cage, and Face Off. I really love this one. It's kind of a cheesy movie, but I really love the way that they played it out.
It
Really
was
good
like the first
action,
that I
thrill.
saw Nicolas Cage being Nicolas Cage.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Uh,
So really enjoyed Face Off. Great story there.
yeah.
And then the resurgence of a really good um, genre would be the slasher Scream. In the 90s was great to kind of resurface a different type of slasher film. The way they played this one out was excellent. I love Scream. Are you a
hmm
big horror fan?
I am. I actually have multiple podcasts that I do horror on. I do like one called Horror Blending Coffee. I do one called 80s horror,
Oh,
90s
great.
horror, and I have another one called Horror Film Lovers. So I have a
Oh,
few.
that's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Then we have Harrison Ford and Air Force One. I really love this one. Really good story. Another action packed story up on an airplane with the
hmm
president taken hostage. Um, really good film. I really enjoyed this one. It's got Glenn Close in it, and I can't even remember the name of the villain. What's his name?
Oh
Oh,
God.
man, I can't think of it all of a sudden. Um,
The actor or the
yeah, the
character?
actor, the actor.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
Oh,
Sorry.
Gary Oldman. Gary
Gary
Oldman.
Oldman.
Yes.
Fucking classic, man.
Man, I love this one. That was another great one. And then the first disaster movie in the 90s that I can remember is Twister. Twister was a really
Twister.
fun movie. I loved this one. My wife and I actually did get to see this one in the theater. Really amazing story. I love a good disaster film, and the way that they did this one was amazing. It even spawned a show at Universal Studios in Florida where they had a Twister attraction, and you kind of got to experience some of the special effects that they did for the movie.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that.
I did the earthquake one,
Oh
like
yeah,
the
Earthquake
earthquake
great
ride,
too.
and
Yes.
they asked for people to come be like up there to do
Right.
like pretend to do stuff to show off what they did.
Mhm.
And I raised my hand and my mom pushed it down and said, "You're too young. I don't want, they're never gonna pick you anyway. Just put it down." And I said, I put my other hand up and
Yeah.
they called on me. So I got to be what they called a grip, you
Oh,
know,
okay.
which is not what a real grip is. But
Yeah.
like they had me just pull on like
Right.
they took it literally as
I
a
think
grip.
they had three different people. Is that correct? With
Yeah,
three
three
different
people like
things.
doing crew, and then like there was three people I think as actors. They picked people
Yeah,
to pretend to be like,
that was a
you
great
know,
ride. I love the classic Universal Studios attractions back in those days.
I gotta go back. One of my friends keeps inviting me out for Halloween
Oh
Horror
yes, Halloween
Nights,
Horror Nights. That was
and I just I don't have the money, and I live in Virginia, so I'm able to go to Busch Gardens all the time, so I do the
right.
Hallow Scream there,
Okay,
and so
that's great.
you know,
Okay, my number 11 pick would be Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock in Speed. We
Speed.
really love this one. Um, Great thrill. Um, I don't know. To me, what I like about this is, I guess, Sandra Bullock's performance as this bus driver, and just the tension of her having to go a certain speed, or the bus was going to blow up.
Hmm.
And then
Dennis Hopper.
Dennis Hopper was great as the villain in this one.
He's a little over the top, but like I
Yeah.
mean, he wasn't as over the top as he chose it more than he did in Super Mario Brothers as
Oh yeah,
Koopa.
definitely. Yeah, definitely.
You actually had two Jan de Bont movies back to back, Twister and Speed.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I actually love both those movies. I just sadly they're not on my list, and it's just because I have a huge list of
Hmm.
things anyway, and so picking like them are kind of hard. So that was up to your 11, right?
It does. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so my turn, and this is going to be interesting because in this group of ones, I don't think we have any of the same ones, so
Oh, great.
it'll be cool. Um, First one was like one of the last ones I could find, like think about, and I was like, what do I really like? And it's about to be Halloween, and I really, really like Halloween
Mhm.
stuff, and so I picked Hocus Pocus,
Oh
which
yeah, that's
a
great.
little steel case there.
Yeah, that's a
Um,
nice addition.
yeah, so you said you had kids in the 90s. Did they like Hocus Pocus? And
Um, to be honest with you, I don't know that the kids ever saw Hocus Pocus in the 90s.
oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I believe so. Um, no, I don't believe that they ever saw it.
I don't know. My friends and I we'd always watch like Halloween stuff around Halloween. So Hocus Pocus was always,
In the 90s, my oldest son, so he was born in 92, so he was pretty young. Both of my kids were pretty young. My youngest one was born in 95, so a lot of these films they didn't really see.
all right. Okay. Well, next is another sort of horror-ish kind of thing, but not really. It's a comedy, but Buffy the Vampire
Oh
Slayer.
yes,
Uh,
great.
s- Classic. I mean, the TV show's better. I'm not gonna lie,
I
but
love the show.
yeah. I think I haven't fully finished it. Like the seventh season, I don't think I
Oh
watched all the way to the end. So I might need to, but
yeah,
I don't want to start it all over again and watch from episode one. It's just, so
yeah.
much work.
So
Um,
that Buffy the Vampire Slayer has Paul Rubens in it, correct?
hmm
Yeah,
Passed away.
yeah.
And he was great. Rutger Hauer was
Mhm.
fantastic. Donald Sutherland was Donald Sutherland. Like
Yeah.
I liked Stuart Head who took over as
Oh, I
the
did too.
Watcher.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
much better. Giles. And then the next one is Disturbing Behavior
Yeah. That's
with Katie Holmes and Cyclops. James Marsden and
hmm.
Nick Stahl, man, who he was like my
Yeah.
go-to guy back in the late
Yeah.
90s.
He had a lot of great films.
Yeah, he wasn't he in a Terminator, like Terminator 3. I think he was in
Uh,
Terminator 3.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, and then he kind of disappeared for a little bit, I guess, and then he kind of resurfaced. So, next is a Criterion film, actually, one on the Criterion thing, which is The Player.
Oh, I've
Um,
never seen that.
So I didn't grow up with this or anything, but my friend got me to watch it, and it is 92, and so it does count. But it's not like your typical 90s horror, not horror, but like mystery thriller kind of things. It's even got Whoopi Goldberg as a detective.
Oh, wow.
It's fantastic. It was such a fun film. Robert Altman at one of his best, and he's so it's so against Hollywood. Like it's so funny. But it's so true. Like the whole a lot of the main concept is like the studios even today are trying to get rid of writers.
Right.
They're like, why do we need writers? We can just write it ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's what they say in the movie. And that's sort of what they're doing with AI. They're like, why do we need to pay this extra money for these people who they don't matter? Like, and I'm a writer, so like when I hear that stuff, it breaks my heart that
Yeah.
but I feel like we're needed because we're the one who come up with all the creative stuff. All the studio people know nothing but money, which is
Right.
great. We need that,
Yeah.
but we also need the creative people.
And that's why everything's so repetitive with the studios. They always try to keep the same. It's nice to get something unique, a unique idea, a unique concept for a film instead of just rehashing the same old stories over and over again.
Exactly. And that's sort of what they've been doing. I mean, but really, I mean, how many stories can you have? I think there's a certain amount of stories that actually exist, you just gotta put your own spin on it, or whatever. Next is a creative movie. I thought is a really good movie. It was Good Will Hunting.
Oh yes.
Yeah, brought two actors who became, writers who had never, that was their first big break. And speaking of which, I believe they sold this to Castle Rock, and
Oh,
Castle Rock was going to make it, but then something happened, they didn't. So it reverted back to, got and turned around, went back to Ben and Matt, and they gave it to Miramax because they were making a deal with Kevin Smith helped them out with that. So there you go. Next is speaking of Miramax, is a Miramax film. It's Pulp
oh
Fiction.
yes. Great film.
Now you're probably like, this is really that high up, and it's not my favorite. It's not even my favorite directed Tarantino movie. My favorite would be Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Hmm.
but this is my second favorite, and it's not even my first favorite with writing or whatever. And I'll get to that later. Um, Another Miramax. Jeez, is it Miramax? I think it's Miramax. Miramax. Swingers.
Oh wow.
Have you seen that?
Yeah, it's been a long time though.
Yeah, it's a movie I can put on. I'm single, so when I see something like that movie, it gets me hyped up, and then it's almost like there was a screenplay that you could buy, and I have it somewhere, and it has the rules of dating
Oh
and explained by swingers. So it gives examples from swingers of how to get a girl, basically, and it's kind of neat. So I highly recommend that and watching the movie because it's pretty good. Next is a Disney movie. It's my second Disney movie, I guess. And it is Heavyweights.
oh yes. Great one.
So yeah, you might see a lot of like kid stuff and everything because in the 90s I was a kid. I grew up
Mhm.
sort of enjoying that. So the next two are actually kid movies too. So these last two in this group, which is Sidekicks, which just came out on Vinegar Syndrome's
Right. Great
4K.
movie. Hmm.
Have you seen this?
I have not seen it. I have not seen it, but I did get the Vinegar Syndrome release.
Oh, you bought it, so you just haven't watched it yet?
I just haven't watched it yet. No.
Oh, you should, because I mean, well, for me, it's a nostalgia movie because A, I was in karate at the time, so I loved it, and then B, it was a kid movie, starring Jonathan Brandis,
Mhm.
and I just related so much to this movie, and
Yeah, I'll have to put that in my watch pile.
yeah. And then last but not least in this group is the movie The Sandlot,
Oh, that's
which,
another great one.
yeah, very classic. If you also notice, I have a few sports movies and stuff in my pile, and that's because, uh, my dad liked sports movies. He would take me to sports movies all the time, whether it was, Sandlot or I don't know if he took me to Sandlot, but I know he took me to Rookie of the Year, which is not on Blu-ray, I don't believe. So it's
No.
kind of a bummer. They need to put that on Blu-ray or 4K. It'd be great.
Yeah.
All right, your last pile.
Okay. So we have True Lies. Arnold Schwarzenegger,
Classic.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Really love this one. Um, a couple who are spies and just a really excellent film. really love it. It's one that we don't have on Blu-ray yet either.
They keep saying it's coming. It's
Yeah,
annoying.
yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, it will eventually make it.
Well, James needs to let Avatar go for a little bit
Yeah,
and
give it
come
a
back
break.
and,
I
you
mean, we
know,
had that long break before this last one. He needs to take a break and step away from it for a while and
I
help us
mean, it was
out.
what did he do during COVID? He should have been working on
That's probably where
this.
all this Avatar thoughts came up during COVID. Maybe, who knows? I mean, how many movies does he say he's going to be doing of Avatar?
I have no idea, but
I mean,
I want him to get back to just putting this stuff out. So, or giving it to somebody else to master and do
yes,
that,
yeah,
because it's like
yeah.
it's
Let's
starting
have.
to get to the point where it's becoming like what's the guy, the Game of Thrones writer who keeps promising a new book,
Mm,
as RR whatever,
yeah,
um
I
yeah,
can't think of the name.
something R.R. Martin,
Mm,
G.R.R. Martin or something. But anyway, I'm really bad with names. But like he keeps promising a new book and it's never happened,
right.
and he's probably never going to, and so
And the further he gets away from it, the more people's not going to care.
yeah, people are probably already starting to not
Just like
care.
with
So
Avatar. I mean, Avatar, the big gap in between the first one and this newest one was pretty big. But it was still enjoyable. You know, it
mm,
felt like an Avatar film. Okay, my next one is A League of Their Own.
League of Their Own, yes.
Tom Hanks, Gina Davis, Madonna, Rosie O'Donnell. I think Penny Marshall did this film, if I don't
Yeah.
remember correctly. Just a really good film based off of a true baseball league with women. I just loved it. It was very it had comedy, it had drama, it just had everything that you'd want in a good film.
I don't think they made a sequel, but I know they made a TV show,
Yeah,
from
very
it.
short-lived TV show.
Yeah, short-lived TV show, which I mean, if you're not gonna have Gina Davis and
Right.
the girl, the one from Tank Girl, I think, or was it
Yeah,
Tank Girl?
yeah,
Um, ah,
um,
see, I'm blanking on names too today.
what is her name?
Lori Petty.
Yes, Lori Petty.
If they don't have Lori Petty and they don't have Gina Davis in a movie in the show, then and well,
Right.
Tom Hanks is never going to do a little teeny tiny TV show, but you having nobody. I forgot who they had. They had somebody TV um League of Their Own. Um oh, I thought there was two versions of. Okay, so they did the TV show in 2022, right?
Oh, did they really?
Yeah. Oh man, and it was a race swapped, one where it was a diverse,
Okay.
which is
I didn't
cool, it's different,
know about that.
and I don't know where that is available. It just says you can buy this first season on the what is it, Amazon Prime. But I know
Really?
they did a one. I thought they did one in um yeah, in 2020 or in 1993,
Okay.
and Sam McMurray was the coach. That's weird to me.
Oh,
I always remember him as what's his name's dad in Freaks and Geeks. It wasn't Sam. Sam Levine's dad, but I forgot what his character's name was in that. But yeah, I don't know if you ever watched Freaks and
oh
Geeks.
yeah, I love geeks.
But yeah, Carrie Lowell, Christina Elise played Kit. That's
Oh,
the
really?
from Beverly Hills 90210 and a
Yeah,
bunch of other stuff. Yeah.
yeah.
Chucky, I think she was in the Chucky
Yes, she
stuff.
was. Mhm.
Yeah.
So next up, I have The Shawshank Redemption. Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins. Love this one. Really good film. Shawshank Redemption,
It's
and what
classic.
the other one that The Green Mile. Think about those two together.
Mm. They're almost tied for like because they're almost the same movie in a way.
Yeah. And then, like I said, my kids were young in the 90s, so we did watch Toy Story quite often. But we love Toy Story. This is one that we watched all the time. Still have the VHS tape. Um, I don't know. Pixar Pixar started their creative career with Toy Story. And if you watch it, if you've watched this recently, you can kind of see the way it's aged. It's not as crisp and clear as Disney Pixar films are nowadays, but
Hmm.
we love the story and we love all there is to do with Toy Story. I remember collecting the figures and the toys and all those fun things.
I forgot what he did exactly, but Joss Whedon was one of the writers,
Oh,
and
really?
he was the one who said like something should, one of the characters should like be changed because like the character was boring,
Hmm.
the way it was, and he was like we need a spike, and I think it had to be Buzz Lightyear
Mm.
because I think um uh yeah, so he was the one who sort of came in there and fixed it and tweaked it. He was a very well-known script doctor at that point of
Okay.
time. Like I read an interview where he was talking about how he was on the X-Men movie, he was on Speed. He actually wrote most of the dialogue in Speed.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so any dialogue you hear that sounds Joss Whedon-y, that's
Okay. Cool.
and
That's
I know a lot of people don't like him now, and he's kind of gotten into this like kind of like a lot of people hate him because
yeah,
he's done a lot of nasty things. Hopefully he can one day redeem himself
yeah,
and maybe come back because I think he was such a great writer, you
yeah.
know.
Okay,
Yeah.
next up we have Batman Returns.
Batman
I know a lot
Returns.
of people talk about Batman 1989, but to me, this right here was my favorite of the Batman films from that era. I loved Michelle Pfeiffer as Catwoman, and I think Danny DeVito made the perfect Penguin. I just loved it. Um,
It's so
Tim Burton,
funny
Tim
because I
Burton's
liked
vision
Batman
of it.
Forever.
You like
Yeah,
Batman Forever? I love Batman Forever also.
yeah.
Right.
But you're saying that Danny DeVito is the Penguin, you really liked him?
Oh yeah, I think it was amazing.
It was just such a weird
It's
choice.
such a dark. I think what I liked about it was just the way that they did the penguin. Um, I don't know. I just liked it. I loved how gory it was. You know, him biting the nose off of the guy and making it bleed, and I don't know. To me, I just loved all that darkness of it.
And Christopher Walken was in that one. Like
Yes.
it just was such a strange movie. I like it, but all I remember was I went to the theater to watch it
Mm-hmm.
and I was so excited. Oh my God, I get to watch another Batman movie. And I went to the theater and I was like, what
Well,
is this? Like, this is
dark.
not Batman
Right.
89. I'm like,
And if like you said, you like Batman Forever, and it was more lighthearted and comical and everything. So
well, I was a kid and I have a I have a kinship to that movie because I was supposed to go on a date with a girl at that movie, and she didn't just cancel on me, she like broke my heart and said,
oh,
and so this guy at the pool, like one of the lifeguards that was like a little older than us, whatever, he was like, hey, let's all go. I'll take you guys and blah blah blah. And I was like, sure. So I watched that movie with friends, like it felt nice. And so it's always like anytime I watch it, it's not great. It's not the greatest movie, but it's not
it's
even in my
fine. It's fine.
collection of things like that. But
Yeah.
I I enjoy it.
Okay,
But
next up we have Jurassic Park.
Jurassic
Of course.
Park,
Man,
classic.
we love this one. Just to be able to see what they did with those dinosaurs in a way to where they were so realistic looking, not claymation, not fake looking. They were more realistic than I had ever seen on the big screen. And so we love Jurassic Park.
Did you like the sequels?
Oh yeah, I enjoyed every one of them. I know a lot of people, they're nothing will live up to the original, but the sequels were fun just to revisit that universe. Um, Even the most recent one, a lot of people hated it, but I still loved it.
There's gonna be people who hate whatever, especially when it comes to nostalgia, because
Right.
they have like they put the series on a high pedestal,
Yes.
but also, they might be right. There might be things that they aren't great about it or whatever. But if
Hmm.
you still just enjoy it, like you can just watch the movie and just sit back
Yeah.
and enjoy it. You don't have to really think about it too
It was
hard.
definitely nostalgia for us. Okay, so next up we have, as we talked about, James Cameron. We have Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Loved this one. Of course,
Yes.
I loved the Terminator, and really thought that that was one of the best. And then I saw this. To me, this is top notch Terminator. I love the way that they turned the story around to make him the hero instead of the villain. I don't know. I just loved it.
When I was a kid, I was allowed to watch that movie, but I was not allowed to watch Terminator 1 until I got older,
Older.
like 17 or something, like something ridiculously older because of the heart ripping out scene and
Oh,
how darker it was
very.
to the original or to the new one. The new one was a lot lighthearted and more silly and kind of goofy and more kind of like RoboCop. My dad used to let me watch RoboCop because he didn't really
Really?
find it to be,
Because,
you know,
well, there's some graphic things in it also.
yeah, but it wasn't, but it was cartoony in a
Right.
way. It wasn't as mean-spirited as the first Terminator. And the first Terminator is mean-spirited because there's this robot killer
Hmm.
who's trying so hard, desperately to find the
Right.
person that he has to
Doesn't
kill.
care who it is. If they got that name, he's going to kill them.
Yeah, he kills every Sarah Connor. No.
Yeah. So next up, we have a great film, probably one of my all-time favorites. That's the reason why it's at number three of my 1990 films, and that is Forrest Gump.
Nice.
Thinks this right here was the role of a lifetime for him. I loved the story. I loved everything that they did to blend him in with different things that happened throughout history. It was amazing. Um, just an epic film for me. I love Forrest Gump.
I forgot what movie or what thing. There's a TV show that Bubba was in
Oh, really?
recently. The guy who plays Bubba, what was his name? Bubba Gump. Um or Bubba not Bubba Gump. That's the shrimp. Um yeah, so the guy who's
Is it like Eddie Williamson?
is that his name?
I don't know. I just see it on the back of this package. I don't know.
That name? Might be. I'm trying to find it on IMDb real quick. Sorry guys, you're gonna have to bear with me in a second. I guarantee I have a feeling he's gonna have a face on here, so oh, it's yeah, Kelty Williamson, and he was in Law and Order, Organized Crime.
Oh, wow.
And I saw him, and he's a big dude now. Like
Oh,
he's
is he?
big. He's like not he is not Bubba, you know. And I didn't recognize him. So then I was like, oh, this guy's a really good actor. Who is he? And I look him up, it's like that name sounds familiar. So I look down and I see Forrest Gump and on his resume, and I'm like, and he's Bubba, and I'm like, that just doesn't seem right, but
Right.
it's kind of funny.
Okay,
Number three, so number two.
my number two film. I don't know. Not many people talk about this film, but I love this film. Starring Sylvester Stallone. It's got Harvey Keitel, Ray Liotta, Robert De
Mhm.
Niro, and that's Copland.
When she said Harvey Keitel, I said Copland. Yep.
Yes, man, I love this film. I, I don't know. Well, I guess what I like about it is it's a dramatic performance with Sylvester Stallone, something that I didn't really get to see up until this point.
Hmm.
And usually you'll see him in something comedic, maybe. Of course, The Rocky,
Stop or my mom will shoot.
exactly. And so to me, I just really love this film. But yeah, I don't really hear many people talk about Copland.
Mm-mm.
Definitely a high recommendation. My number one film of the 90s is a really good horror slash thriller, and that is The Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the
Hannibal Lecter,
Lambs.
what a story this was. Jodie Foster's performance was amazing. Of course, the outstanding Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. I love a film that um, I love true crime type films. I love anything that depicts something where you're trying to figure out what's going on.
Like a murder mystery.
Yeah. And to me, I just love the darkness of it. That final scene was amazing. Just the whole film was amazing. And that would be my number one of the 90s.
Nice. Do you have the criterion of it?
Oh, I do. Yes.
I need to get that. And I know there's a 4K, and I think they have
Yes.
different special
I
features.
do.
Man,
Right.
how they get you on that, you know? You're
Yeah.
like,
Double
I
dipping.
have to own everything now because the extra features or whatever. All
Right.
right. Let me grab these. All right. Here we go. My my last 10. Yours were really good, but I'm gonna you're gonna be like, this is completely different. And there's
Okay.
a couple of them that are the same that you've had, you know. Um, but my number, I guess 10 movie is 10 Things I Hate About You.
Oh, yes. Uh-huh.
That wasn't planned. That wasn't like 10, 10. But this was a movie I just I used to watch before I knew who Heath Ledger was. You know,
Hmm.
I watched this movie and I was like, I could not stop watching it. And I still to this day, I anytime I watch it, and I know every single line of this movie, you know. So it's a classic to me. Um, next is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, it's up there, man. Once again, you'll see a lot of comedies. I am really a horror guy. I do a lot of horror stuff and everything. But I'm real, you know, if I had to choose between comedy and horror, in my like, you know, one of them has to go. Is the one that has to go will be horror. And that sounds terrible considering I do a lot of stuff, but I love like you can't have life without comedy. You can't have life
Right.
without laughing. And horror films, you can put comedy in there, but sometimes it's not that great. So
Yeah.
another comedy, Billy Madison.
Yeah.
I remember seeing this in the theater, you know. So it's good, it's a good movie. I like it. Um, next is another oh God, the rest no, not rest, but next two are comedies. So next is
Right.
Liar Liar, Jim
Yes.
Carrey.
Good one. Yes.
So it's really funny because now I have like, was it Robin Williams, Adam Sandler, and Jim Carrey, who are
Yeah.
like in the 90s, those were my go-to
Right.
to watch movies of, you know. And on top of that, I used to watch a lot of movies with this
Yeah.
guy. So I
Yes.
mean Mike Myers. Did you pick this one up?
I did. Yes. Uh-huh.
It looks freaking beautiful. Like I was happy, you know.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to check that one out yet.
It looks beautiful. I just watched the Weird Science
Mm-hmm. Was that good?
4K, and the 4K itself looked okay. Like I don't know, like I almost felt like I was still watching a Blu-ray, and
Oh,
it
really?
was the 4K. So I'm like,
Hmm.
I don't know.
Not much of an upgrade then, huh?
It didn't seem like it, but I didn't have the Arrow Blu-ray,
Yeah.
so I just have the regular Blu-ray of it. So um it didn't bother me. It's just to the point where I was like, it didn't feel like I don't know, like but I guarantee there's going to be people talking about they're going to be like, "Oh my God, the stuff." I thought it was a really great movie and it did look pretty, you know. It just I it didn't blow me away as far as that goes.
Yeah.
Speaking of a movie that sort of did not do very well on 4K, and I'll bring up the 4K, but apparently this is like a lot of people's least favorite 4Ks for a while. Terminator 2.
Hmm.
I don't know why people are saying I have no problem with this movie,
I
but
don't either. I don't have any problem with it either. I do know a lot of people really do not like the transfer on that one, but they
yeah,
say
like
they say things
Jeff at Films at Home
waxy.
says that stuff all the time.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
man, I thought it looked great. It sounded great. I was very pleased with it.
I would need to talk to him to find out like why wasn't he like, you know, like maybe if I can get him on physical media chat, I can ask him you know, what was so bad about the transfer? Because I actually thought it looked decent. It looked better than the Blu-ray, in my
Right.
opinion, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I think they got rid of the feature that really annoyed me in the Blu-ray, which was like you put the Blu-ray in
Mhm.
and it almost you had to like answer a bunch of questions or whatever. You had to do all these different things to just get into the movie. It was obnoxious.
Aggravating. Yeah.
Yeah. So next is a movie you already mentioned. So you mentioned that one
Right.
earlier. You also mentioned Scream. Those
Yes.
are back
That's
to back.
high up on your list.
Yeah. So Terminator 2 is high up on my list because as I was saying to you before that was a movie that that I would watch as a kid over and over again and stuff with my friends. We were allowed to. We watched it on beta, you know, and everything. That's how old I am and stuff. So like I loved watching it with my friends. I mean, so bad like I remember where it messed up in the beta because it always like that and Princess Bride always had like one place where it would just always, screw
Yeah,
up.
or something.
And in Terminator 2 is when he's jumping up with the motorcycle and he's gonna come down and grab Edward Furlong and
Hmm.
put him onto his bike and everything. When he goes up, it messes up and then it comes back down and fixes itself. And I'm like,
Hmm.
man, that's like the best part, you know. So anyway, so Scream also is a big deal with me because Scream was one. So just like you said it kind of rejuvenated the
Hmm.
slasher. It rejuvenated horror.
Right.
It like horror was sort of dying at that
Right.
point. Like
Hmm.
there really wasn't anything good coming out. And so there's nothing but sequelitis and pretty much that was it. Remakes hadn't even really started to take off for horror till
Right.
like 2000s. So this was sort of the way to break everything. And I always say this, and people get mad at me about the horror lovers always get mad at me about this. But Wes Craven destroyed horror and brought it back, killed horror and brought it back when he did was it a Vampire in Brooklyn? I think it
Mm.
was, and then he made this afterwards, and this sort of brought back horror and got everybody to go. And the problem was it made like a billion clones, and some of them are good. Some like Urban Legend is fantastic.
Right.
I Know What You Did Last Summer, things like
Yep.
that. But then you get like Urban Legends 3 or something, and you get like a couple other ones that were, very low budget and, tried to be Scream, you know,
Yeah.
Scream ripoffs. So I'm down to my last three. All right, you ready for this?
Yep. I'm ready.
Mallrats
Oh
is number
wow.
three.
Yeah.
This, if I hadn't discovered Kevin Smith, I wouldn't have wanted to be a writer, like necessarily as big as I did, big as I am. Because like I loved writing, but like I stopped writing and wanted to try to do acting, and acting was not really working out for me in school, high school, and everything. I was feeling like it's just not going to be my thing, you know?
Right.
So I reverted back to doing writing because Kevin Smith, and this is the gateway drug into my, thing. So if you look at my wall there, I have like some of my favorite movies and everything, and Chasing
Mm.
Amy is in
Right.
it,
Yeah. I see that.
but it should have been Mallrats, really, because Mallrats is really the movie that like it's like my favorite.
Yeah.
All right, so my next favorite is I told you that so Tarantino, my favorite directed one was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and then I like Pulp Fiction. My favorite writing one of his is True
Oh
Romance.
yeah. That's amazing.
Do you have this one? Do you have
I
the
do. I
um
got that one in the Steelbook.
Yeah, and it's just fantastic. I absolutely love this movie. It's I remember when my parents were watching it for the first time and they invited me to watch it because they didn't know anything about it. So I started watching it and I got bored, right? I'm a kid. I'm like, nothing cool's happening, blah 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 blah. So I go downstairs and that was right before the Drexel, like, Gary Oldman shooting everybody scene and all this other stuff, which would have kept my interest. And then I would have been like, okay. But I still wouldn't have probably, as a kid, I wouldn't have liked it. It's
Right.
not a movie that I could probably appreciate till I got older.
Right.
But
Exactly.
once I started watching it, I could not stop. Like, I even visited I should have stayed there, but the hotel, the
Yeah.
little motel, that was like a Safari Inn.
Yeah.
I was in Burbank and we passed by it, me and a friend of mine, and I was just visiting before I moved there, and to Los Angeles. So I was just going around. And I was like, wait, is that? No, that's a real. I literally thought that the Safari Inn was just made for that movie. you
Mm.
know, like that it wasn't a real place, you know? And so I was like, oh my God, I gotta go find out. And it was so cool because the people in Safari Inn told me all this stuff about the making of the movie that they knew about,
So
and
is it
stuff.
pretty, you went right after they filmed it, or was it
Oh
later on?
yeah, 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 way longer after
Oh,
they filmed it because they made this in 93 and I came out there in
oh,
2019. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
way
way
ahead.
after that, but it was still nice like
Yeah. The
talking to them at the
people that were involved in that were still there.
no, but people that worked there at the motel
Mhm.
actually knew a lot of information,
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
and I'm guessing they have to because I guarantee you
Yeah. And
so
probably
many
people
fans
share their
come.
stories and stuff with it too.
Yeah, and they have like pictures and they gave me something. I forgot what it was, but I lost it. Whatever it was, I lost it. I was really upset because I was like, dang, they gave me something about the movie and everything. And I just had so much stuff. So, but lastly, this is the movie that definitely, if Mallrats was the movie that got me into wanting to be a writer. This is the movie that got me to be wanting to be a filmmaker. And I suggest it for people to watch this if you are wanting to make a movie and you don't know how, and you want to see somebody who has the guts and the bravada and and all that stuff to go out and make the movie. And it is Ed Wood.
Oh, wow. Yes. That's another
Yes,
great
that
one.
is my favorite movie of all time.
Wow.
Always will be, you know.
I wonder why
Um,
we haven't gotten such a better release of that.
yeah, they need to do like a 4K of it. It's Touchstone, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah, and that's Disney.
Yeah.
So I
You
don't,
never know.
I- you know, Disney might. I mean, it is about a cross dresser, and they're really LGBTQ friendly. So like all that stuff. Like they might
And
want
it's
to.
Johnny Depp in that, right?
Yeah, he did have a little problem like with
Yeah.
the pirates. But it's also Tim Burton
Right.
who directed many movies for
Oh,
Disney. I don't
yes.
understand why they wouldn't, say, "Hey, you need to upgrade your thing to 4K and make it better." And um I believe if I'm correct, I'm lucky because I'm one of the only ones that was able to get a so it's not listed here, but I believe it's in here, in this particular D Blu-ray. There was a documentary, like featurette about cross-dressing and stuff or something, that was in here.
Yeah, I don't even know
And
that I have Ed Wood in the collection, but I've heard a lot of people talking so well about it.
yeah, have you ever you've seen it though, right?
Yeah, but it's been probably since the 90s since I've seen it.
Yeah, it's such a great movie. When I first watched it, I just thought it was funny and silly, but the more I watched it, the more I empathize with with Ed and the trials and tribulations, and I became a huge Ed Wood fan, period. Like I have like tons of his movies, his books, things like he actually wrote books. I don't know if you know that, but he wrote novels. I don't have any of those, but he wrote a book about his ideas of Hollywood and movie making and all that stuff. So
Mm.
his like little essays and things. So it was really cool. Like the more you dive into Ed Wood, the more you sort of realize he was sort of ahead of his time. And if he were living it today, man, would he be making movies? You know,
Yeah, I need to check that out. I wonder if it's on Disney Plus.
it is on, I don't think so. Is
No.
it? I can find out in 2 seconds because I have Disney Plus app. Where's the Disney Plus app? Um, because unfortunately, if you look it up on IMDb, they don't have Disney Plus. It's
Mm,
Disney Plus and but they have Hulu. I don't know why
yeah.
they won't show you what movies are on Disney Plus. I guess no. But if you look up Ed Wood, it does have all the other like it
Oh,
knows what Ed Wood is,
right. So it
and
has things that would it suggest
yeah,
for.
it suggests like Frankenweenie. as the
Yeah.
top, so it suggests Tim Burton, and stuff. And so yeah, but unfortunately,
I have to search that one out and see if I can find it.
I can see if it's on any particular app right now. I don't think it is, sadly, unless it's on Max. Um, which nope, it's just on Amazon or whatever. I would go on eBay and just buy like a Blu-ray.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
only like $6 or something on online. It's not very, common, but it's not out of print or
Right.
anything, I don't
Right.
think. So I think it's fine. To me, it's one of the best movies of all time. Like you said, or well, you loved what was your first number one movie? Was
The Silence of the Lambs.
Silence of the Lambs. Like, you know, I don't think that's your favorite movie of all time, probably,
No,
but
no, it's not my favorite movie of all time, but out of all of these, it was my favorite of the '90s.
what was your favorite movie of all time?
The Empire Strikes Back.
See, that's like a lot of people, it's either The Empire Strikes Back or it's like Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost
Yes, it's
Ark or
very
something.
nostalgic for me because I grew up in the '70s and the '80s, and those are the movies that really stood out in my mind. Superman the movie with Christopher Reeve, all of
Yep.
those back in those days are just very nostalgic for me.
Yeah, 70s. I've been deep diving. We just did French Connection for
Yeah.
a show, Film Freaks. We reviewed that, and uh I actually, told my dad later, like, about it, and that what I learned, and one of the things I learned from my buddy who just learned from the internet, or whatever, doing some research, but he found out that the chase scene in French Connection
Hmm.
was actually all real.
Oh,
Like, not,
really?
I mean, not like they were really chasing, but
Right.
like they did not stop traffic. They just went and did it all. And there was a real accident that happened in the movie that
Hmm.
happened in real life and whatnot. You could not do that today. No.
No.
There's insurance issues,
Right.
there's
Exactly. Yes.
a million other things. And back then in the 70s, forgot who put it out, Fox or something. Just
Yes.
they just didn't care, and stuff. Yeah, it's a Fox property. That's right, because Disney owned it and then lent it out to Criterion and then cut out stuff because, they do that. I wish they would just do the disclaimer like they do on a lot of
Right.
their
That's what they
stuff.
should do.
Yeah, just don't cut it, but just say on the beginning, like, look, we don't condone
Right.
this, and stuff. This isn't, we don't think that but this was a movie that had this in it, getting rid of it would ruin the movie process, and stuff and kill scenes in the movie. So I don't know, but I'm not in charge of Disney. So
No,
they
I'm
do
not
whatever they're gonna, what?
I'm not either.
Right? Don't we wish we were though?
No, I don't know. I don't know if I want to mess with that.
You wouldn't want to touch that now?
The responsibility, right?
Well, yeah, it is, but also they're going through some hard times right
They are.
now, which
Yeah,
kind
they're
of
struggling.
sucks. They're struggling, but if you watch, I think it was Serial Midnight did a good thing about that. He interviewed somebody who's kind of given insight into
Mm,
what's going on with Disney, which is interesting actually. I watched some of it, but I had to turn it off because it was getting too schooly, it was like teaching me too much. And
mm,
when I watch YouTube videos and they're teaching me too much, sort of I have to be in the
that's it.
mood to
Yeah,
like watch it, and I just was like, "Nah, I'm just in the mood to just flip through YouTube." Do you do that? Do you flip through
I
YouTube a
do.
lot?
I flip through, yes, but I do watch some of Heath's content. I love it when he does. To me, with Heath's channel, Serial at Midnight, I like to see him unbox things and show me new titles because I'm really big into the collecting aspect of it. I'm not really big into the whole studio portion of it all or the politics of it all. It's
Oh
more
yeah, yeah.
the collecting, the packaging, and the film itself.
Yeah, you're not into like the background of like all the
No,
politics of what happens in the
no, not really.
business. I like that stuff.
Because you're in the industry, so to me, I
Yeah,
think you would enjoy that more.
yeah, but I'm not. So when I hear things, period, and this isn't just like because Heath does his research. So
Mhm.
whenever he talks, whenever he's got things to back up his stuff. But I'm always taking, even if it's somebody who does a lot of research, with a grain of salt, because there could be something they're human, they could be wrong, you
Right.
know. So I always watch it, and then I I tell people, and if somebody says, "Oh no, that's not right. This is what I heard," I hear that, and hopefully,
Yeah.
it's not wrong, but whatever. But Heath, yeah, Heath knows what he's doing. There's a lot of great, people who know that stuff. And then that goes back to Jeff at Films at Home. I absolutely love when he talks because he shares things that I had no idea exist. Like he knows about the frame ratios or the sound and all this other stuff, which to me, even as a filmmaker, I'm not, you know, like I don't know that stuff yet,
Right.
or whatever, like I'd like to learn, but I feel like that's just too much knowledge that I don't really particularly need when there's other people who are more knowledgeable
Oh
that
yeah,
can.
definitely. Yeah. I just let them do all of that. I just enjoy
Mhm.
the movie.
I just enjoy the movie, or I talk about, if it does look brighter or more beautiful or something. I said weird science before, but like, if that really popped, I would have been like, oh my God.
Right.
So I Marry Aximer I've seen that Blu-ray a billion times, the regular Blu-ray that I have, and then I watched the 4K, and I'm like, good God, you
What was
know.
that?
That was So I Marry Aximer.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, just when the colors just popped, and then I saw like there was like deleted scenes on it, so I was like,
Mhm.
oh, cool, like something extra, which was not on the regular
Yeah,
Blu-ray.
and it's the regular standard version of that, or was it done in 4K also? The
I
special
think that was the regular standard
because a lot of times when you
version.
watch the special features on some of these releases, it's the old. It looks you can tell that you can tell how it's aged.
You can. I think it's even worse because it's the deleted scene, so it's not even they're not
Right.
even like
Even
completely
professional.
color coded or
Right. Right.
done, but color graded or anything like that. But I watched it, the deleted scenes, and I was like, ooh, and I'm like, I understand why they cut some of the stuff they cut, or whatever. No pun intended with it being an axe murderer, you
Yeah.
know. But I don't know, it's a great movie. You know, so tell us more about your channel real quick
Yeah.
while we
So I've been doing my channel a little bit over 11 years now, and
11 years on
I'm
YouTube.
I'm a big physical media collector. My thing is I love to get as many Blu-rays as I can possibly get that I enjoy. Um, just like just like I showed all the VHS tapes, I've been collecting since the '80s, and I don't know. I just love sharing what I get. So I do a video a day. So there's a video uploaded on my channel every single day. Most of it is still books that I open up and show what the packaging looks like. But I'm just a big collector. I love films. I love talking with people with the same interest and the same love for movies. And yeah, so it's very nice to meet you. I don't, I just came across you recently. I think
I know. I think like
Hug must have mentioned you to me because I remember friending you on Instagram, I believe. And then the next thing I know, I'm hearing from you about being on your channel. So
well,
I love
I
when I get new
messaged you
people.
before and just said that I really enjoyed one of your. I think you did with the Plaid
Yes.
X2, and or wait, who was you've done different.
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. A lot of people in the community have had me on their channels.
Right. So I've always loved your, picks, and you did Criterion one recently
Yes,
too.
yes.
And
During the Criterion sale, I went out and about and went shopping for Criterion at the Barnes and Noble and all
but
that
you did
stuff.
like your recommendations on
Mhm.
another person's channel. I'm blanking, but you did it on someone's channel, and I really liked it. I liked hearing what you have to say, and the different stuff. I That's the thing. That's why I like this, because I like showing off what I like and
Right.
then hearing what other people like. And in
Yeah.
fact, I think everything pretty much, there might be one or two things but most of them I've seen that you
Right.
picked, and I think you've seen everything
Right.
I've
And
picked.
it's just getting new perspective and new recommendations for titles that I may not be aware of. Your love for Ed Wood, hey, you love it. That was your number one. To me, it's like, oh, I need to go check that out again.
Yeah,
I was interested to find out where can I watch this at because, it's been years since I've seen it, but I
I
check
need the
things out
4K of
again.
Silence of the Lambs, like no
Yeah.
doubt. It's just it looks. I mean, I'm guaranteed it will look great,
Oh, yeah, definitely.
and just
It's a great release.
is it the
Oh,
4K of it? I
hmm
gotta check that out. But yeah, so I discovered your thing recently because I've been, the algorithm for YouTube, seems to know that I like collectors and it'll show me
Right.
different collectors I've never heard of.
Yeah,
And the community is huge.
it is.
And
So, like I
so
said, I do a video every single day. I actually watch one movie every single day also. So every day I watch at least one movie. So I'm going through the collection, watching these films, and I do log all of that on Letterboxd. So, Letterboxd is a good way of keeping up with what you've watched
I've
from.
got that. Yep.
Yep. So I do a monthly video showing what I watched throughout the month, my thoughts on those films. I also do a monthly collection video where I show all the titles that I picked up during the month. So those are the ones I really do often. But like I said, I do upload every single day. So most of my uploads are small, short, 4-minute videos, sometimes 3-minute videos of just showcasing a title. So it's fun. I just like love meeting new people. Um,
Yeah.
they're the
I
same.
uh I'm I sometimes I'll do 4 or 5 minutes, sometimes it'll be 10,
Mm.
sometimes it'll be this long, over an
And I'm not
hour.
a big
Yeah.
talker, so I don't really talk much in the videos. I just mostly showcase titles.
Well, that's good though. It's nice to have like different people doing different stuff. You don't want to see the same person.
Right,
That's the
exactly.
thing why I don't do the Tuesday Blues Day hunts, that
Right.
everybody
So many
does.
people do it so well.
Cool Duder was the first person I ever
Right.
knew do it, and
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? I know Sean, me
Mhm.
and Sean been friends for a lot, like way long before MySpace days, before even Facebook like came around, Instagram, all this stuff. And so me and him were like friends, and then I just saw like how crazy like people love that. People love seeing that stuff. Wet Movie One does it.
Mhm.
Movies and Sue does it. Like
Yeah.
everybody does those things, and I think even Huck does it now.
Oh
And
yeah, Hug does great. I love Hugs when he goes out on Sundays, swap meet to go to like a flea market or something.
yeah,
I love watching
but
those type.
see, I'm not really into the hunts.
No,
So like, I used to watch Cinema Sickness, and I would love watching where, and I still do. I have them on. I watch them like pretty much almost every day anyway, still. But I loved it. I loved it when he would just review a movie or something. He doesn't even like doing that anymore. He doesn't like doing that, so he just does the hauls and the pickups now. And do you know Dave, right?
yes.
Yeah.
hmm
So, and I got introduced by from Dave to down to movie Rick,
Yeah.
and him and I've had him on my shows before. Me and him have been friends for a while, so
That's great. Yeah, that's really a really nice group of people in the community.
Well, when I created the Blu Ray Hunter, he was my first subscriber basically, and he was the one going around telling people you should subscribe to him
Oh, that's great.
and stuff. So I really appreciated Rick from very beginning meeting him. He's
hmm
been cool, and this, like I say, this community is huge,
It
but
is.
it's so wonderful. And I'm still trying to find people from Virginia where I live
Yeah.
that do this stuff, and it's not just my crew, but like more people, so we can just, because I hate going to Criterion and shopping and having picks by myself or with just one other person. Like I want a whole group of people to
Oh
do
yeah,
hauls
that would be
together with.
wonderful. Yeah, you do see a lot of groups of people in different areas going shopping together, which I think is great. But
Yeah, like
like you,
Films by Color DJ
yes,
does that.
and he actually lives here where I live,
Well,
but
you guys gotta meet up
I've
and
never met up with him before. But one of these, he actually shops at the same Barnes and Noble that I shop at.
What? You guys gotta
One of
go.
these days, one of these days.
Yeah, you guys. I mean, he has people, but he has a group of people already that he's done it. But
Yeah,
man, it'd be cool to have you on there. Just
yeah.
you
I
guys
love
both going
Atlanta.
shopping and talking about what you guys got.
Yeah. So we're
Yeah.
both in Georgia.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, no, Atlanta especially is a really big,
Yeah.
Blu-ray collecting community too, and that kind of makes me sad. Like everybody keeps telling me go down to Atlanta. I want to go back out to California,
Yeah.
which I mean has a few people there. I
Yeah.
actually met Wet Movie One in Burbank
Oh, that's
randomly.
amazing. Yeah. Oh, just randomly.
No, randomly. We didn't meet up. Like I was actually meeting up with the guy who played the kid in you ever watch Halloween 4,
I have.
Return of Michael Myers? There was like little Michael for like
hmm
2 seconds or whatever. I went to go hang out with that guy and
Okay.
meet up and just talk about movies and stuff and everything and potentially working together someday and
Yeah.
everything like that. And then and then I left Eric to go home. And I was at a cafe, and as I was walking by, he freaking uh Wet Movie One was there with his buddy Aaron, and I was like, hey, what's going on? So like it was such a strange,
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah. It would be.
But it was nice. It was nice to be able like to randomly it might be if one day you're out just shopping at that Barnes and
Right. The Barnes
Noble
and Noble. Right.
and you
Bumping
just run
into.
into DJ,
Yeah.
and
Maybe. Maybe one day.
maybe one day, period.
Right.
Like that's just to me that's such a cool experience
Yeah.
because, and now if I ever move back to LA anytime soon, I can run into Daisuke.
Right. You might. He's here now to stay, I guess. I guess it's
Well, he said
permanent
for a while at
for a
least,
while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think he
I
said,
actually got the pleasure of being on Daisuke's channel
really?
uh, last year. Yeah, really nice guy.
What
Uh,
did you guys talk about?
just he wanted to know more about my collecting habits. He would call out a movie and I would go pull it off the shelf. Because my collection's so huge, he wanted to see if everything he called out, if I would have it or not. It was
Were
fun.
they
We had a
really
really good
random
conversation.
things too?
They
Or
were some very random things. Yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah,
I love
really
that
nice
dude.
guy.
He's the most mellow person I've ever seen. I'm
Yeah.
like, does he ever get angry? I wonder,
I've
like,
never seen him get angry.
I don't think so. Like, even if he's mad about something, he's very calm about it.
Right?
And I'm just like,
Yeah, he's got
you
a very
know,
calm demeanor.
I know, like, I've talked to him. We've talked about having him on my Criterion Watch
Oh yeah,
show that I do. I'll have to have you on too because you're a Criterion lover.
yeah, I would love that.
It's so hard because we only do it once a month, and a lot of times my buddy wants to do it inside the studio that we have, and I'm like, I can't fly people out to
Mhm.
be, for one. Well, if we flew people out, they wouldn't be on one show. They'd be
Right.
doing like
Multiple
multiple
shows.
shows just to
Yeah,
get the money's worth out of it.
yeah.
But yeah, I just can't afford that yet. One day, man, one
One
day I'm
day,
gonna have that
that's the
money
dream.
and I'm gonna be able to be like, hey, you want to come out? I'll pay for your
Yeah.
plane ticket and put you in a place to stay.
Yeah,
And
our family used to drive up to Virginia. We'd go to Kings Dominion
mm,
amusement park, and
Kings
um,
Dominion's nice. I've only been there for they do like a Christian music festival thingy.
yeah, they
I
got some
used to
really good
go, what?
music festival. Yeah, they got some really good Christian music festivals.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, but you used to go up there with your family.
hmm
Nice. Um, yeah, that's in like Richmond area, which is,
Yeah, it is.
pretty nice. That's only like an hour away from me. I live literally where Busch Gardens lives,
Okay, yeah. See,
Williamsburg.
we've never been to Busch Gardens in Virginia.
What?
Because we're closer to Tampa than we are.
Yeah, yeah, you are. So you can go down to Tampa anytime, man. Come back up. If you're in, come check out Colonial Williamsburg where you get a little history.
Yeah,
Cinema Sickness loves that because
yeah,
I get mad when I hear because his shows like his stuff's not like the day of. So like he'll post things and he'll already be gone. And I'm like,
right.
you
It's
were
like,
in
oh,
Williamsburg? I didn't get a chance to like meet you.
Right.
Sucks. But anyway, he loves CW, does not love Bush, but I have a theory that that's because he loves Disney so much.
Yeah.
He doesn't, which I've never actually been to Disney yet, so I
Yeah.
plan
So,
to one
and we
day.
do we usually go to Disney every year, so we're more partial toward Disney because it's just more convenient for us, just like Busch Gardens is to you.
Yeah, I mean, Busch Gardens 10 minutes away from me. I'm guessing, it's a few hours to drive down to Orlando from
Yeah,
Atl-
about six
Atlanta, but
hours. Yeah,
6 hours not that bad.
no, it's not bad.
And you stay overnight, or whatever, and then drive up the next morning or something.
Yeah.
We did that. We stayed in Florida and went to when I was a kid, went to Universal
Hmm.
and SeaWorld,
Yes.
and my dad took me to like an alligator park
Right.
in St. Augustine.
Yeah, they
So
got a lot of that stuff down there.
I was really into I'm still really into alligators. I love them. I think they're the coolest thing. I don't want to get anywhere near one,
Right.
like in where I'm not safe,
Right.
or whatever. But I love like I would love to make the asylum does all those like Gatoroid or
Oh
whatever
yes, yes.
type stuff, and I mean I would die to make a giant killer crocodile movie or something.
Right.
Well, it was really nice. It was a pleasure to have you on the show, and your top 20 was amazing. I really liked it.
Thank you.
It was more like, yeah, because ours, I think, was, our generations are a
Yeah,
little different.
definitely different. Right. Exactly.
I think you're about if you're not 10 years older than me, you're close to it. So,
Yeah, I think so.
so we've got a little bit of a gap there, but um, that's the beautiful thing about showing this stuff off. So,
Yeah, it's
thank
nice.
you
I
so
really did
much
enjoy it.
for coming
I
on.
enjoyed it, and I really do appreciate you asking me to be a part of this.
Can you tell everybody where they can reach you?
Yep. So, Basement Blues. You can find me on YouTube, on Instagram under Basement Blues, Letterboxd, TikTok, and on Twitter. So you can find me on all of those. I do post daily, and yeah, the more the merrier.
I'll try to put your letterbox and all your
Oh, I appreciate
information
that.
on there so people can check those stuff out. Yeah, check out Basement Blues, man, because I've been watching your stuff recently. It's been popping up on my feed, so
Thank you. Yeah, and I'm
I
gonna catch up with your stuff too. I did visit your channel. You got a lot of great stuff. You've been doing this for 5 years.
yeah, just five. I mean, and I actually took a break for a little bit because of 2020. I
Oh
started
yeah.
putting everything onto Indie Film Cafe, my other channel, my network.
Okay.
And then I brought this back because I sort of wanted to separate it from
Yeah.
Indie Film
You
Cafe.
still have both. You still have both channels.
Yeah, I have that
Okay.
and Horror Film Lovers. So I have three
Oh
channels.
wow, I have to check all of those out.
Yeah, and now Horror Film Lovers and this one are more just me, with guests, occasionally.
Yeah.
Uh, Indie Film Cafe is mainly me, my co-host Paul, and any guests that we're able to get. So
Yeah. Yeah, for the past 2 years, I've been doing the 31 Days of Halloween, where I would do some sort of horror related video every single day during October, which is
nice.
fun. And I know that's probably something
I've
big.
done stuff
Now.
like that. I did that last year and the year before, but it was, and I think 3 years. I think I did it for 3 years, and then I stopped because it was getting to. I was doing it throughout the year and
Hmm.
actually doing videos throughout the year, and then just
Kind
putting
of
them
gets
up.
repetitive.
Yeah, it just got kind of boring. So I actually put it down for horror film lovers. First time watch Fridays now is what
Oh,
we do. So we'll have more stuff in the fall for that.
well,
You know.
great. I look forward to seeing your stuff.
Yeah, thank you. I look forward to seeing your stuff. So thank you so much, and everybody check his stuff out and join me next month for a brand new Top 20 Thursdays with a brand new guest. So
Yep.
thanks everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.